Hi everyone, my name is Sammy. I am a 5/1 emotional projector and I talk about human design on my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a very brief summary in my own words of what the planets mean on your human design chart, starting from the top all the way to the bottom on the body graph or on genetic matrix, whichever one you want to do. But if you pull up your human design chart or your body graph and you follow me through the channels, through the planets, I'll be able to tell you a little bit more about what those symbols mean. Of course, just to be extra sure, if you want to follow along, the red is going to be the design, the black is going to be the personality. Essentially what that means is just that you're probably going to be more aware or resonate more with the personality, especially at the beginning of learning human design. But at least in my experience, I have started to recognize a lot more of the design aspects of myself, more of the subconscious parts that play a huge role in my life, but never really was recognized before. So it's kind of cool, and it can be fun to... My dog's drinking a lot of water. I'm sorry if you guys can hear that in the background. Very thirsty. All right. But yeah, so hopefully that's your experience as well. I think it's really cool when people kind of start to recognize the design aspects. So anyways, on both sides, they're going to be the same planets going down. So I just wanted to let you guys know, so you'll be able to look at both of those gates and how they play a role within how the planet operates. So let's just go ahead and start with the sun. So this is going to be the highest expression. This is going to be what makes up your profile. Like I'm a 5/1 profile, so on my design it's going to be a 1. That's my subconscious or unconscious kind of aspect. It plays in the background. And then the 5, which is going to be personality, the thing that people see the most. Those are going to be on the 2 gates. Like there's always a gate, like, and then there's a dot, and then there is a line. That's going to be the line. Like that's going to make up your profile as well. So that's going to be the highest expression of yourself and what you put out into the world, but it's also what you're able to give the world. It's kind of like your first impression. It's the expression in its highest sense of the leadership that you're able to offer the world. In its lower expression, it can be boastful or more in its ego. And I don't mean ego like the will center. I just mean like in your ego, unable to kind of have a balance between being a leader and feeling like you're right in everything. I think that the sun can show us a lot about our will and our will of what we're willing to do in this lifetime. And it really is like, it's just like what people first see about you and what you probably resonate with about yourself, right? It's sunshine, and it's what we light up the world with. Our earth is going to be more of what tethers us and grounds us. Oh, I love talking about this one. It's like the root center, and I have my root center defined, and I always feel like the way I describe, the gates on earth is like how you can feel grounded. I'm a large split. So I have my G center defined, my will center defined, and then I have my emotional solar plexus defined to my root. And I always feel like, even though I like to go to La La Land, I always have to come down and have that energy really be able to like go back down and be grounded into earth, so I can like release any part of myself that I no longer need to hold on to. I also know the significance of like having protection of my aura and the importance of knowing that I'm very open in my ajna and my head and my throat. And in order for me to even be able to speak on this platform, or for me to feel like I can get my words, grounded, I have to ground, I have to meditate. And that is like, I have the gate 46 in my red design on the earth like planet, like the second one underneath there. And it's funny because when I saw that, it made a lot of sense as to why meditation is so important for me, because it's like subconsciously it's like my mind and my whole body need to just completely decompress in order for me to feel grounded, restabilized, healed, refueled. It's why I take days off when I need to, you know. So looking at those can really help you see what's going to make you feel more grounded again. So the North Node and the South Node, obviously those aren't planets, but they are important to mention, but I'm not going to go too in depth with it because, again, this is my own perspective. I don't study astrology, and take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt because, again, I like to see things from everyone's viewpoints, and if you would like to add anything, please do so in the comments. But so let's start with the South Node, which is going to be the fourth thing underneath if we're going down on the chart. But it's the first thing. It's going to be like the beginning of your life, the things that you come into life with and what you're comfortable with. I've also heard it expressed as like kind of the gift you're given to allow yourself to kind of go into the North Node. But it's essentially your past life karma where we start. It's like part of this destiny that the South Node and the North Node have. And so this is going to be a very youthful part of your life. And then it's going to go into the North Node, which is the one above it, which is what you are here to evolve in. It's what you're moving towards. In my personal opinion, it says like 0 to 39 or to 40 or halfway through your life is how some people teach it. I personally think that we are always moving towards these energies, but it's not necessarily that even the South nodes that we have to fully let go or release it. It's just a lot of it can be gifts we were given and to help us get to that North Node. Because personally, my South nodes and my North nodes are actually like, they actually fit really well together. Like I could see how I have one in order to get to the other. And it's almost like an evolution standpoint, not that you lose any parts of your South node. And I also like to mention that wherever you are, like I am 25 and it says when I'm 39, that's when I'm going to really see that switch. But like, there are some times that I see it now. There are some times I don't see it at all. And so it's really just about knowing that and knowing that there's like maybe a little bit of a destiny to that, a little bit of karma energy to those things, and just being aware of them. I mean, the more you're aware of them, the more it's going to be easy to recognize when those shifts happen, and you're going to be so ready for it that it's not going to make as hard of a transition on you. And also, if you don't feel like you've been working on that, or that's something that's a strength of yours, that's okay too. It's just about learning this if you feel like it helps you. And it's also just about like putting this knowledge out and sharing that, so that way if you want to just look at it and have time with it, and just to have even just looking at it and, you know, subconsciously letting your mind soak that in could help you in the long run. It's not about being perfect at any of this. So the moon is going to be the why of like who you are. I love describing this one because it's really beautiful the way so many different people describe it. And so I just love reading about this specific energy because it's like what drives us, but it's also ever changing. It's like soulful, it's intuitive, it taps into emotions or that intuition inside of you. It's like it like takes the expression of the sun that we like light up with, and then it takes the earth energy and we're grounded, and then it's like the moon is the inner experience of what those two energies feel like on the inside of our own world. It's our own intuition of why we are here on earth and what drives us, what motivates us, and allows us to have that yin and yang of both sun and earth, kind of giving us our own beautiful, raw, and personal experience within our own bodies. Mercury is what you are here to communicate and what you are here to teach about. Venus is your values, the morals of which govern your desires. It's essentially more than just your values. It's like what you believe is the boundaries on which you stand on this plane of existence. You know, what you are willing to do and what you are not willing to do. It like governs what you desire because it governs your boundaries around what you are willing to do, what you want, how that energy plays out in relationships, in, you know, femininity and masculinity. It's so much about all of that being about morals and principles. Mars is going to be the lessons from a youthful state. So the lessons we learn young, I mean, even as a kid, I think like a part of us will always be probably learning some immature aspect of ourselves, because without growth, then, you know, life would get boring. So, but it's where you find expansion in those lessons. So maybe relationship with, like, so Mars has this part of it that's about relationships with men. So I could say that a huge lesson I have learned is to be my true self and to stand up for myself and to be with people who truly respect me and see the authenticity that I bring to the table and share the same values as me, right? And I learned that through relationships with men and having negative relationships. And almost like my gate 51, I have that channel 51 to 25, but like that gate of shock really was something that I had to have my eyes open to, of like, this is not correct for me, because I needed to kind of have this bolt of like, wake up, Sammy, wake up to your own beauty and worth and value. And so there is a lot of like lessons that can be learned just about me, like in my experience, like the insecurities and the things of like needing to have principles and needing to stand up for my values, right? And those are things I learned and can see being expressed now through, you know, the planet Mars. So Jupiter and Saturn kind of work together, right? So Jupiter is our blessings, it's growth and expansion. When we are following who we truly are and being authentic, Saturn will then, you know, be at peace with the way that we're navigating the world. I have a hard time saying this because I'm gonna state my own opinion about this afterwards, but I just want to say it how it actually is taught right now. So yeah, so it's taught that Saturn is like the punisher. It's what brings us back into alignment, and depending on how out of alignment we are, the worse it could show up in our 3D reality. But of course, Jupiter's blessings and the expansion will only get greater if you are also in alignment with Saturn. I personally don't even like using the word punisher, because that to me just brings so much negativity and so much bad connotations to that language of punishment. And I feel like in the world we live in now, it doesn't resonate with me, at least. I mean, it could resonate with other people, but it doesn't for me. If I'm being told that a planet is a punisher, it doesn't really give me this want to strive for anything. So I look at it as the challenges, the big challenges we're going to face in life. And that means that it is a challenge. It is not something that is a quick fix. It is not something we have to do overnight. It is not something that we are going to get punished for if we go back 5 steps, because we need to do it again and we need to just continue on, but we still see who we truly are. I think Saturn, and actually all the planets and all the stuff in human design, if I'm going to be universal real quick, it's not meant to be perfect. We are human beings. We are never going to be perfect at this stuff, okay? If we are, that's crazy. They'll be the first perfect person in the world, but I doubt it. It's about recognizing that you're going to have setbacks, okay? I even had to work through this so much in my own time of like feeling like I saw something like the Punisher on Saturn, and then I would look up my gates and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm not expressing that correctly. And then I would freak out, feel like I was doing everything wrong, try and convince myself to fit into this box of what that gate meant so that I could just be okay, so I could get the blessings of Jupiter. That's not how this works. Like I had to decondition myself from human design deconditioning. Like I had to double decondition myself. I had to decondition myself from reality and then decondition myself from everyone else's perspective of human design, because this one really stuck with me, and I'm sorry I keep going on about it, but it just did, because I could not understand why people call it the Punisher, because I'm like, you know how scary that is? Like, I don't know why, but that freaks me out. I'm like, I don't want to get punished. Like, I feel like my life, you know, I've been through a lot, man. Like, Saturn got me good. Like, I don't know. And it's like, I think people think the worst case scenarios. And I definitely do too. And so I have to remind myself that it's like, it's not about being perfect at this stuff. It's literally just about being authentic to you. Last 3 planets, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, are going to be more generational energies. They're going to be less personal to you and more of a generational type of thing. But it's also good to look at those energies of where you would like to break patterns or cycles of behavior that might be a generational thing in your family. It might also be something cool where you can kind of see how you are going through this same growth as someone in your family. So Uranus is more slow moving. It has a quirky way of expressing the energy that resides in it. So if you look at those gates, there's a possibility that you will express those very differently than someone who might have the same ones. But I find it interesting that they, say it's kind of just a strange or weird way of expressing the energy, because I often wonder, if we look at those gates and we look at that in your family, how you can kind of find quirky traits or maybe an aesthetic that other people don't have that you might find in your family. Neptune is more about spiritual work, and again, this is going to be more generational, slow moving, and it's the depth that is in your spiritual growth here on this plane of existence. If you are really into spirituality or want to kind of go into that growth of spirituality, that's a great place to start. Of course, there are other factors of the chart that play into this, as well as our lived experiences and people we know. However, this is a great start of like maybe getting a bigger picture or even a generational picture of maybe this spiritual work or growth that you are trying to evolve into. Lastly, Pluto is going to be renewal and expansion for growth. It is going to be, again, that generational kind of energy. So really looking for like a large, slow growth of renewal and expansion for, whatever it is on this lifetime that you are here to grow in. Thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate it so much, and if you want to learn more about human design, please check out my channel. Again, I just want to clarify that I am not an astrologer. I am just talking about my interpretation of the planets through human design, and so I hope that helps in that perspective. But of course, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear about it in the comments. I'm all about personal perspectives and different narratives on things. But of course, you know, if you are really big in astrology, I know this is probably not going to be anything new to you. But I just wanted to give a brief summary of how these, you know, planets and stuff work in your human design chart, because it is really kind of hard to find it even in the books of human design about how they all play these roles. And so yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I love you all so much. Okay, bye.